Texas congressman just proposed new legislation which would require DNA testing for illegal migrants to prove family ties to the minors they travel with. Big deal. Congressman Lance Gooden, Republican from Texas, introduced the bill, and Congressman joins us now. Question: are migrant children being used as pawns to get into the country?
Yes, and they have been for many years. I filed this bill many years ago. It failed in the Democrat-led House. I have filed it again with Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee. And I do believe that we have a serious problem. These minor children are often used as coupons, in a sense, to get across the border and get special treatment. And the cartels are taking advantage of that.
Explain how that works. They front up to the border, they grab a child and say the child is related, so in they come because they're taking care of the kid. That's how it works?
Right. You know, when you have a child and you're crossing the border, you're treated a little bit differently than if you're just by yourself or with a group of grown people. And so the cartels have taken children south of the border and used them to make their groups get through quicker. And in some cases, we've seen drug smugglers with children saying that they're their own family. And so what this bill would do would force testing just to make sure that these children are actually family members to who's claiming them as family members.
Do you think
and if
they're
lying, then they're going to have to explain or get arrested.
If you pass this thing, you think they'll actually do it? You think they really will test everybody crossing the border for DNA? You really think so?
Well, this is just like every other border plan or security plan that we've proposed. The Democrats always say we don't have the resources to test everyone. And the point is if we pass this bill and they know they're going to be tested, there will be less people crossing in the first place. So do we have the resources to take care of every asylum seeker that's crossing our border? No, we don't. But if they know that they're not going to be admitted, then they're not going to make the journey. And if they know that they're not going to be able to get across the border with a smuggled child, they're not going to bring the smuggled child. So passing this, it may seem like it will be a large burden on government on the front end, but on the back end, you're actually discouraging the bad practice in the first place.
Is it true that that we've lost track of tens of thousands of migrant children?
We have, absolutely. And when I say we, I say this administration. They've lost track of those who are coming across the border. They don't know where people are going. Also worrisome, they've lost track of those that have been ordered to leave this nation. They've lost track of people who have known ties to terrorism that have come across our southern border. And we're not just picking on our friends in the South American and Central American nations. These are folks from all over the world that are coming to our southern border and using the open border that we have to enter our nation. We don't know who they are.
You know, Congressman, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but not a word from the establishment media. Not a word. I remember during the Trump administration, young reporters in the White House screaming at President Trump about kids in cages. Oh, the horror. Not a word now. I think the American media is in a disgrace about the border. What say you?
I agree with you totally. And recall that these were the cages that Obama's administration built. They didn't have a problem with it then, but when Trump was in power, he was just awful in their minds. And I think the double standard is something that we've witnessed with the border crisis and all the way down in Miami with the Trump indictment that we saw yesterday as well.
Are you still with Trump after the indictment yesterday? You are?
Absolutely. We've known this was coming. We've known this witch hunt would not end. And once President Trump announced he was running for president, the target even grew bigger on him. And this Biden administration has gone out of their way to take him down at every corner. They can't do it. They're very fearful of him winning the nomination and he being a very serious contender that I believe, and I know many of my friends here in Washington on both sides of the aisle believe, will take down President Biden in the next election. And I am 100% behind President Trump. I know that this is a witch hunt. The American people do as well. He has been unfairly prosecuted and pursued by this DOJ. Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden are guilty of the same things that President Trump is accused of. The difference is they don't have the authority to declassify that President Trump did. And I think it's a very sad disgrace of an action by this Justice Department. The American people see through it, and I think it only helps President Trump.
A lot of outrage in America today. Congressman Lance Gooden, Republican, Texas. Thanks for joining us, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You got it.